the Hawking radiation would get out.
I got one
for you.
for
One of
you.
the spooky things
I got one
it's
for
talked
you.
about. Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah.
I ran the numbers on this because large black holes are not on average dense, other than the singularity. Big black holes have slightly different macroscopic properties. Like how should I say? So, let me put it another way. If you take the mass of the universe, and then I ask it, how big a black hole would the mass of the universe make? What would be the size of that event horizon? And it's the size of the horizon of the universe that we observe. So is the entire universe a black hole as seen from the outside of our event horizon? And are we simply alive, enjoying the contents of our own black hole?
Well, we better get to enjoying it quick because we all about to be crushed into nothing, that's for sure.
I'm just asking.
Well, I mean, it's an intriguing
Is the universe a black hole?
I would not say the universe is a black hole, but I would say we do have an event horizon as well, cosmologically. So inside the universe, we're looking at the expansion of the universe, and there is a region which we can very well articulate around us, beyond which light will never reach us. It is also an event horizon. So the universe goes dark for us beyond that point. There are things we will never see.
That's everything you said about the black hole.
Yeah, that's right.
Is the universe a black hole?
It's still not a black hole because we're not. The thing about a black hole is it's not just this region of space that you can travel around and paddle and survive forever. Once you cross that event horizon, that singularity is actually a point in your future. So I want to emphasize this. If I look at the black hole from the outside, I think that there's a center to it because it's spatial. I think it's round. I think there's a point in the center. That point might be the singularity. And if you fall in, maybe you could avoid it. But when you're the person falling in, your space and time have rotated so much that that singularity is actually not a point in space for you at all. It's a point in time. And that singularity is in your future. And you can no more avoid it than you can avoid flowing forward in time.
I gotta go.
Fall in, maybe you could avoid it. But when you're the person falling in, your space and time have rotated so much that that singularity is actually not a point in space for you at all. It's a point in time. And that singularity is in your future. And you can no more avoid it than you can avoid flowing forward in time.
I gotta go. Y'all have a good night. I hope y'all enjoy the rest of the conversation.
Oh, wait, so you mean this literally, not just figuratively?
Yeah.
I mean it literally.
The black hole is in front of me in space.
From the outside, you think it's a point in space.
But as I cross the event horizon, the rotation of the coordinate system is such that the center, what I wouldn't want to think of as a position in space that I might sidestep, it's no longer a position in space. It is on my timeline, and I cannot avoid it, and I'm going to get crushed at that singularity.
It is now an inevitability, Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Exactly.
Damn.
That was a quote from The Matrix, in case you didn't see.
Yes.
My name is Neil. Sorry. We're just geeking out here right now. So, this is spooky stuff.
Yeah, that is spooky
I
stuff.
got another for you. I have a book on my shelf, co-written by Stephen Hawking. I read it and didn't completely understand it, but I do remember the pages where it said that on the other side of a black hole, an entire other space-time opens up, as though it has birthed in another universe.
Yeah, that's a really profound idea. So what's really going on there? It's the Hawking and Ellis book, right?
Yes,
it's a
Hawking and Ellis.
Very technical,
Very
beautiful book. So what
To
they
me, it was
did...
an ugly book because I didn't understand it. But Janet, it's a beautiful book.
It was painful, though. It's painful. So the idea
Oh, I can't
is
wait
really...
to read it.
What they're doing there is they're saying, you know, this is kind of relevant to your question earlier about cosmology. The Big Bang singularity looks a lot like kind of the inverse of a black hole singularity. So instead of everything falling out of the universe, falling, out of the black hole, everything in the Big Bang is coming out of the singularity. And so they were like, well, maybe I should just sew these two things together. And the interesting thing is, mathematically, in this very formal technical book, they can prove that the space-times mathematically can be sewn together flawlessly. And that's not a given.
Wow.
Right? And it's beautiful, and you can sew them together. So they said, oh, maybe when you start to go into the singularity, you're actually blown out into a new Big Bang. And that's another beautiful thing, is that the black holes might be small on the outside in the way you've described, but they're much, much bigger on the inside.
Like the TARDIS.
It's the TARDIS.
Yeah.
It's Doctor Who's TARDIS. And they can be as big as an entire universe on the inside. And that's the beauty of curved space-time, allows you that kind of trickery. So it doesn't mean that we have a prediction that that's what happens. It's just suggestive that the math permits it.
All right, let's get even more freaky before we close this out. So you mentioned wormholes possibly being the fabric of a black hole. But how about the wormholes in the science fiction sense, where I'm over here, but now I walk through a portal, and then I'm over there, as is displayed in the Marvel superhero Doctor Strange, or, of course, Rick and Morty, right? Okay.
So much better.
Okay. So, is there anything that prevents that? Because clearly, if that can exist, it's going to be used in some Einstein theories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so wormholes are, again, a mathematical possibility that we don't understand how they're possible. It might be like black holes before we realized they were real. So we don't understand what source of matter or energy will keep that throat open. They tend to want to collapse. And so we don't know of any form of matter or energy in the actual universe that keeps wormholes open and allows us to
It's got to be like a negative
But they're totally
gravity.
fine.
It's got
to be kind of a negative gravity. We don't know of anything. But look, there's dark matter, dark energy, and we don't know what those are either. So nobody should say we will never discover a form of energy that can keep a wormhole open. But who knows? Maybe it will be related to the dark energy or the dark matter. So it is perfectly fine to attach space-time with these little bridges. That part's completely easy to understand.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, last bit, Jana, before we call this out. In the movie Interstellar, one of the more poignant, stupefying scenes was when the spaceship was orbiting a black hole. I think they call it Gargantua. And there were a black hole that had a planet, and some of the crew went down to the planet, closer to the black hole, because the planet is orbiting the black hole, and they stay far away. They had completely different timelines.
Yeah.
So tell me about time dilation around a black hole.
Yeah, we actually even see the effect around the Earth. The rate at which literally our clocks tick is slower closer to the Earth than it is further away. So when we communicate with satellites, there's actually the additional effect of the speed of the satellite, which I do believe causes a greater dilation, but we do see that
you can run the math. It's actually less than the gravity.
It is less than the gravity?
Yeah.
So it happens, but around a black hole, it's so extreme that this is part of the rotation of space and time that we were just discussing. So if one astronaut stays far from the black hole, they both have perfectly calibrated clocks. The other astronaut travels near in the black hole, and as they do, it's almost as though they're rotating in space-time, such that their clocks are running slower and slower and slower relative to the person further away. When you hit the event horizon, technically you've rotated all the time away. That's why the center of the black hole is in the future time direction and not in the space direction. I'm literally not expecting anyone to understand that.
All right, so,
like nobody.
So what happened, if you didn't see the scene, those 11 of you who didn't see the movie,
right.
the security should have removed already.
Right, so the astronaut who stayed far away.
So they have the astronauts up here when we're down on the planet with them, and 20 minutes goes by, and then they beam, or I forgot how they got back up to the ship.
Right.
And the folks on the ship are
20
gray,
years. Yeah.
and they age 20 years.
Yeah.
They're like, why didn't you call?
Yeah, they've been there 20 years. And this is a real effect. We literally see the effect even around the Earth. Our phones correct for the relativistic time dilation,
Wait,
so that Uber can find us.
Where they took atomic clocks and
they did exactly that, where one...
Well, that was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Keep up with the century here.
but it's exactly what you're saying. It's proven because there's an actual experiment.
Well, it's also proven because we know that there are subatomic particles which have incredibly short lifetimes. If they're just sitting in your laboratory, they decay in a fraction of a second, but you boost them near the speed of light, and they will appear to live for minutes. Wow. It's real.
Right, so you were saying your cell phones, so that's the origin of that is the GPS satellites. So the GPS satellites are in a different gravitational field from us. So their clocks tick at a different rate because of general relativity. Yet all of our clocks are synchronized and perfect because
we correct for it.
We pre-correct the GPS time for general relativity so that it's correct on Earth time. That's science. All right, so yes. So let me get some closing thoughts. Jenny, what can you tell us just about life, the universe, and everything? Your career being emboldened by TuESDay.
I'll tell you, my husband always wants to know what's inside a black hole. So now I'm going to go home and tell him I learned what's inside a black hole.
Okay, Jenny.
Closing thoughts. I do think it is quite amazing that black holes are like fundamental particles. They're fundamental to the universe in a way that nothing else is, that we don't really understand. So when the universe was created, it might have made black holes in the same way it made electrons. They might be a fundamental property of the universe. And little quantum black holes.
As opposed to an exotic thing that at least some telescopes.
We think of them as collapsed dead stars, and that is a brilliant way that nature thought of to make black holes, just kill off some stars. But they actually are not dead stars. That's just one vehicle for making them. And we do think that black holes might have been created in the early universe, and they were like as heavy as a little pile of sesame seeds, but they were smaller than a proton. Wow. And those quantum black holes would have evaporated away like firecrackers. But they are a very profound and fundamental property of the universe.
Chuck, do you have a...
I do. I have several closing thoughts. But really, I am so proud to see a theater full of people as we discuss these mind-expanding principles, and we talk about things that are so incredible with respect to our being and the fact that we can look up and look out and wonder. And the fact that you are here gives me hope for this entire stupid rock that we are all floating on.
So I'd like to maybe offer some closing thoughts myself. That one of the things we've noticed about the universe is that every time a new telescope comes online, a new telescope, not just that it's brand new and shiny, but that it was conceived to access the universe by looking through a window that previously had not been opened. By looking through a window that we didn't even know was there. At some point, someone has to say, I think there's something on the other side of this window, because I just discovered this new window, and no one's looked through it before. So, we gather funds, we propose, it gets peer-reviewed, and the telescopes get developed, once again, by engineers to empower the science that we have. And what a journey this has been. We are in the centennial decade of the discovery of quantum physics. That was in the 1920s. And you know what actually happened? 97 years ago, Edwin Hubble discovered that our galaxy wasn't the only galaxy in the universe. That the fuzzy things that half of the Messier had found were a whole other galaxy. In a sense, island universes, they were poetically referenced. He was using the biggest telescope available in the day. And so every time we do this, our minds are not only blown, when we put it back together, our minds have actually expanded. And we learn more and more about our place in the universe. So one of the greatest gifts to civilization are the discoveries in astrophysics, because we all look up at night. Yet when the stars call to you, and they call to me, I know that maybe you don't become an astrophysicist, but if you walk out at night and it's not cloudy and the moon isn't out, those stars are screaming. And you've experienced this, not in the Northeast. You visit, all right, you go someplace, okay? You know what I'm talking about. The universe calls to you. So I would claim that the study of the universe, opening up these great portals, not only the theoretical portals, but the technological portals to the universe, that there's no greater source of a cosmic perspective than all the new understandings that come down the pipe, that tell us how big the universe is, how old the universe is. And then, in a way, looking back on Earth, it makes Earth all the more precious. In the vastness of the universe, this is the only place we've got. Are we the shepherds we need to be to assure our own survival on our own planet, so that the next generations can be proud of the decisions we've made, rather than embarrassed by the decisions we didn't make? So I think, and black holes are just another part of that glorious story. A little more obscure, really fun, good fodder for science fiction storytelling, but I wouldn't have it any other way. And that is a cosmic perspective. Now, I want to show you something. I have in my possession an authentic child's lunchbox. The black hole, the original Disney black hole movie from like 1977, I remember when it was. This is the lunchbox for that movie. Now, I had recently, at the time, because that's how old I am, graduated from high school, and I saw this movie, and it was immediately one of my 10 worst movies of all time. There was no science in it. Even what I knew as a senior in high school, I could have totally tricked out this film. It was an embarrassment. But I have the lunchbox, and so I want to open this one. No, don't open it! Whatever you do, don't open it! I'm going to open the lunchbox, and there's a little thermos. So I open the black hole, and I open the lid, and I want to... We heard about the black hole in the center of the Milky Way, but here I have Milky Ways in the center of the black hole. One for each of you.
I love Milky Ways. Yay. Yay.
That's it. Star Talk at the Keswick Theater, Philadelphia. Thank you. 10-11. Jenny Green. Chuck Nice.
Quantum Bot. Man, playing in theater, you ain't getting no VC or no goddamn rep. Jesus, I'm crying. Please some quest though.